Democrats. Today is Friday, January 14th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. Happy Friday. So it's January 14th, which means today is the last day to get registered in order to be able to participate in the election on February 8th. So if you're listening to me and you're not registered, go ahead and log off. Get on over to the election board and get because it's too late to do it in the mail. So get over to your election board, fill out your voters registration, and get registered so that you can participate in this election that's coming up on February 8th. And we are 10 days away from the deadline to request your absentee ballot to participate in this election. That's on January 24th. So for those of you who are kind of slow on the uptake, that means we have an election coming up. We have an election on February 8th that if you had already requested your absentee ballot like I did, you would have gotten your ballot and you've been able to do your research, but it is not too late. Please request your absentee ballot. Hi, Wayne. Hi, Blake. Please request your absentee ballot because Oklahoma is not okay, guys. We're not okay. We have a lot of folks who are currently in some level of office who are using their level of office to and while they're being paid by us as taxpayers, using it to campaign, right? I made you guys aware a few months back that the state Senate authorized more money for the governor to use for a secret fund. And it's really just a way for him to brag about the things that he's done and use that as a campaign tool that we pay for. The latest incidents of that nonsense, and there is no other word for it but nonsense. The latest incidents of that nonsense is the insulting and patronizing of the Secretary of Education, Ryan Walters. He is running for office, and we're not even going to talk about that because I'm not going to put that out into the universe, but he is running for office. There are schools all over, and I talked about this earlier this week, schools all over the state who are struggling to try and make sure that they are bringing education to our students the best way they can. So there are schools who made a decision that there just aren't enough teachers, paraprofessionals, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, or students to keep the schools open after they've rearranged and combined classrooms and bus routes. And they've just gotten to their wits' end and they closed school for 2 days. I want to make sure you guys understand. They closed it for Thursday and Friday, and they're going back on Tuesday. So it's 2 days. And then Ryan Walters makes a horrible, insulting, I have Teacher of the Year here saying insulting statement that, closing schools should be the last resort. Duh. Closing schools were the last resorts. Our educators, our administrators in those schools did what they could. I was looking at the Tulsa schedule and it just kind of freaked me out because there was a school that said, all classes are in session except for fourth grade. All classes were in session except for the second half of third grade. As comical as that sounds, it's heartbreaking because what that meant is try as they might, they couldn't get all grades covered. They tried everything they could and they couldn't get all grades covered, or they could get as many grades covered as they could and there weren't enough fourth graders. And so teaching to this small few would leave out the rest. COVID is real, folks. And as long as our state pretends like it's not, and we're not taking the measures that we need to, it's going to be very difficult to keep kids in the classroom. Everybody wants kids in the classroom. Everybody. That is not a partisan issue. Everybody wants kids in the classroom, but they also want kids to be safe and the folks who work at the schools to be safe. And we got to figure out how we can do it. And then I've already talked about this, and so I'm talking about it too long, but I have to add the insult to injury in that he substituted, and it was a publicity stunt because he was invited to a school by one of his donors and he didn't stay the entire day. Most of our educators do not have the privilege of popping in, doing a photo op, and going home safely. They're there doing the hard work. And what he's basically said is he's not qualified for the job that he has, and he's definitely not qualified for the job that he wants. And it's important that we keep in mind that it is an election season and people are showing you who they are. They're showing you what is important. And for him, it was important for him to come out and sound all tough, part A. And part B was he got his photo op. Remember that that's what's important to him. Meanwhile, we still have, what is the word I saw online? We still have scholars that we have to educate, that we have to bring education to. So I'm bringing all that back to say voting is important. This is an election year. It starts with school board races on February 8th and culminates with other statewide offices and our congressional seats and our U.S. Senate seats and our governor's race. That's in November. You need to make sure that you are registered. And just because you registered once when you're 18 doesn't mean you're registered now. Go out to the Oklahoma State Election Board, verify that your that your registration is up to date and not missing any pieces. As you guys know, earlier this week, I was talking to someone who found out that their registration was missing pieces. So go out, make sure that your registration isn't missing any pieces, that you didn't get purged in the purge year last year. Make sure that everything is up to date, and talk to 5 people this weekend. It's a long weekend. Talk to 5 people this weekend and encourage them to verify that their registration is updated, and maybe you'll find somebody to register. Please do that. Request your absentee ballot. We got a lot going on. It's a big election year. We got big announcements coming. Been working on a lot of candidate recruitment. Locked down 2 candidates for House Rep, in conversations for a couple of statewide offices. A DA candidate, I'm going to let him announce it, but a DA candidate for Oklahoma County. So you will have somebody to vote for on your ballot this time around, which, Democrats, we don't always get that opportunity, but you absolutely will have somebody to vote for. You're going to get a break from this voice and this nagging for a couple of days because I won't be here on Monday. I am going to respect the holiday for as we observe Martin Luther King's Jr.'s birthday. But please be sure and join Scott Hamilton, our executive director, on the Hamilton Report at 6 p.m. on Monday as he talks about the enduring legacy of Dr. King. Okay, with that said, I'm going to say have a good weekend, do something kind for others, and I'll be back here Tuesday.